everyone, it's Bree. I have a makeup tutorial for you guys. I did a photo shoot for STACE Beauty. I'll leave all of their details in the bio, but I got a few compliments on my makeup and thought I'd teach you guys, because we don't gatekeep around here. So I prepped my skin with Paula Choice liquid exfoliant and Glow Recipes watermelon toner, then Rhodes glazing milk, Innisfree green tea cream, and SPF 30 by Elf Skin. Moving on to makeup, I used the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, and I basically only use this for foundation just because it does leave that really nice luminosity. And I know I didn't use primer, it's because I ran out, but usually I use the Elf primer. And I'm just using this really wonky little mini foundation brush that I found, but it works for me, okay? So I'm gonna use it. So I basically used the brush to spread the product around, but now I'm going to take a damp beauty blender. I know the beauty blender is really busted up. And I'm just going to pat on top of the foundation to remove any streaks. Next, I'm going in with my Anastasia Brow Wiz just to shape my brows. Next, I'm going in with this concealer pencil. I did work at a cosmetic manufacturer, and this was one of the innovations that the team created. So unfortunately, I can't give you a brand name for this product, but I'm sure you could have the same results using just a regular concealer. Next, I'm just blending that out. Next, I'm going in with my contour stick from Fenty Beauty. And when I contour, I put it directly on top of my cheekbones rather than underneath, just because it does give a more lifting effect. I also put it on the sides of my nose and forehead and jawline. Now I'm using a dense brush to buff it all out. I highly recommend using a brush like this to buff out your contour and even for blush, just because it does hug your skin better, so you can achieve an airbrush and even finish. Next, I'm going in with my No Makeup blush in the shade Pink. And I apply this with my finger in the upper part of my cheekbones, my forehead, and my nose. Then once again, I go in with the same dense brush. And the reason why I use the same brush is because it already has my contour on it, so it helps to create that seamless blend. Okay, so at this point in my routine, I'm dying to do my lips, so I'm using my lip liner. And this is City Beauty's City Lips in shade Pink. And now for the main part, my eyes. I'm using the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. And I'm starting off with the light peach tone. And I'm putting that all over my eyelids. And this is acting as my base shade, so the color of my eyelids can be even. It's also going to help the other colors pop more. Next, I'm going in with this dusty pink. I'm using a flatter, dense brush because it's only going to be on the main part of my eyelid, so as close to my lash line as possible. Now I'm switching to a mini flat brush and I'm tapping into this very gray shade because this is going to be our guideline for the graphic liner. So for this liner, I am placing it just slightly above my natural eye crease. The secret to this look is really just following and studying your natural eye shape and going along with that. Here's me checking if they're symmetrical, and they were a little off, but honestly my natural eyes are a little off, so again, just following your natural eye shape. And if you make a boo-boo, it's okay. You can always go in with the concealer to clean it up. And now once I'm satisfied with the shape, I go in with a darker brown and start tracing over the guidelines. And now I'm gonna go in with a small fluffy brush and then going to blend out the graphic liner just a little bit. This is just to diffuse the color and give the liner just a little bit more definition. You could always make small adjustments just in case you blended just a little too much. For example, here I decided to go back in with a darker brown and trace the line once again. Once I was satisfied with the shape of the line, I went back in with the peach shade that we originally used, and I'm essentially underlining the original liner, and this really helps the liner pop out more. Next, I'm curling my lashes and going in with my Glossier mascara and using my NARS concealer. And I place this underneath my eyes, and I'm using a flat brush to blend it all in, and I'm also going to take it to the outer ends of my eyes. This is going to help me clean up the liner and make it look sharper. And I'm using the Beauty Blender to blend. Then I'm using the same dark brown below my lower lash line. And of course mascara on my lower lashes. And I know he's canceled right now, but I'm using the James Charles palette. And I'm using the black only to trace over my wing. Don't do the entire liner, just the wing. Now we are ready for powders. I'm first using the Kat Von D Shade Light palette and using a slanted brush to pick up a bit of powder, tapping it first on my arm so it can go on softly and smoothly on top of my cream contour. Next, I'm using my musty 5-year-old ColourPop Hello Kitty blush. I refuse to get rid of it, it's my favorite. But again, I'm using the same brush and tapping on my upper cheekbones. Next, I'm using my Hourglass setting powder in areas I want to mattify, which is directly under my wings, chin, and T-zone. Now I'm using another product from my last job, so unfortunately I don't have a brand name for you, but it's basically just a light tinted all over powder. And just retouching up my lip. Now I'm ready to dust off the setting powder from earlier. And finally, it's highlighter time. I'm using my musty 6-year-old Dominique highlight palette that I also refuse to get rid of. I'm going in with the skin gloss using a thin flexible brush to highlight underneath my brows, nose bridge, chin, and I also like to use my fingers to apply my upper cheekbones because it's easier to blend. And there you go, that's my 60s inspired look. More to come. Bye!